We're in search of a song. Today that search has led us to Spooner Oldham. Spooner, thanks for coming on here.
Yeah, good to be here. It's in my neighborhood. We're distant cousins and having fun every time we go see you. Sometimes at Fat Cat's restaurant for breakfast on Saturday morning. You know.
Really got to know you well up there and enjoyed it. Great musician, but a great guy on top of that.
Thank you. Well, you are also.
We're generally talking about songwriting on this show, so is there anything you'd like to say about it?
About songwriting?
Before I mess up to ask a bad question, you may have something you'd like to say.
Well, people ask me a lot, how do you write a song? Do you write about something personal you experience, or you make something up? Well, no, or what do you do? And I like what Dan Penn, my co-writing buddy in Nashville, in Vernon, Alabama, says to young people. He said, just make something up.
That's good advice. Oh boy.
I can't beat that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Who were some of your early influences when you first started getting into music?
So many, you know. Well, since I played piano a lot through the years, and I was attracted to music by piano players, which on the radio, on records, which would include Ray Charles, Jerry Lee Lewis, Fats Domino, Billy Joel, Elton John. I don't think I missed any, but you know. And then I liked country back in the day, and rock and roll, and I never heard much classical. That's one, but I've got time to start studying that, you know.
Yeah. That's one thing I like about you is, you know, my goodness, what a career you've had, but you're still looking for that next thing and excited about music and doing the next thing.
It's you know, I've been challenged. Each thing I've done, it's a challenge for me, and I like that because you have. What I've learned is like, if you play music with someone, maybe you feel like they're better than you, or have more training, or more skill, or more years experience, or whatever. You just feel like, oh, they're really good, and so you try to rise to the occasion, you know, to fit in. And that's what I've done all my life.
You ended up in the Hall of Fame doing that, so it must have worked out pretty well. I think off camera you had mentioned a Bob Dylan story. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, I did an album over here at Moses Sound Studio with him called Saved, and then we did a tour with that music. He did the Saved album, and he did all the music with the Slow Train Coming album, which was done at Moses Sound Studio, although I had nothing to do with that. That was Barry Beckett and Jerry Wexler producing, and Barry played keyboard. Anyway, that was a good album. But so we hit the road, and the first night we practiced for weeks out in California near the beach there. He had a big warehouse rented for lease for a year or whatever. And so we learned all that. I thought, well, he's going to be just real spontaneous. You know, be quick, be ready to anything. Man, he rehearsed us to death.
Yeah, it seemed like he just loose and free there.
Well, I assume, you know, they were new. I could understand where he's coming from. He new songs, and he had to learn them himself, whether he wants to admit that or not. And play with the band, you know.
Yeah.
So that was. Then we hit the road. All of a sudden, after we learned the songs, and first show was in San Francisco at Warfield Theater, and it was a newly renovated theater that Bill Graham, renowned in San Francisco, had owned and rebuilt. And so we opened it up, and it was sold out for 2 weeks before we walked in the building. So that was an interesting thought. But driving up in the van, me and the band and all the singers and players. On the sidewalk there were people like 20, 21-year-olds looking, mine mid the 60s, you know, those plaque posters and walking around trying to read what they said, you know. And I think essentially they were probably protesting him doing Christian music because they were Jewish folks and they wanted it to be Jewish music or whatever, you know. But that, and for about 3 days there was, and there was experience this part was like, you play a song, it sounded good, everybody played the parts good, and you hear, and half of them, boo, boo, boo. I've never been booed before, you know. But it wasn't the music, it was just protesting.
He always brought out strong emotions one way or the other, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, he went, I saw that first before I knew him with the electric guitar. He was known as a folkie, you know, and all they wanted to tear the house down when he played that guitar.
One question I like to ask everybody on this show is, there's so many good songs to play and you're a great session musician. What made you want to write a song of your own?
I get tired of playing everybody else's song.
Bullseye. So you're about to play a song for us. You want to tell us about that one?
Yeah, this song called "When I Let Jesus Take My Hand." My wife Karen and I, we've been married like 54 years, I think. Several years ago, we were coming from California, where we lived, back home to Alabama by way of Memphis, Highway 72. Back then it had like 2 lanes, now it's 4 lanes. But and the trees would come over, you know, you had no room for error. I mean, nowhere to park on the side, you know. Yeah. Trailer truck, you might just blow you in the ditch kind of feeling, you know, really tense driving. And so anyway, so we were headed from Memphis, the last leg of the trip, to Alabama, and we both had the flu. I'm feeling bad, but we wanted to get home, you know, get on back. High temperature. Well, anyway, so driving down through there, and the fog just came in, and it was like no traffic, thank goodness. But it was, like I said, I had nowhere to pull off, you know. So if you're down to 5 miles an hour, watch the white line, you know, and try to not just sit there and get run over, you know. So I said to Karen, there's a pencil and paper in that glove compartment. She said, "You gotta be kidding me."
Inspiration hit.
And I said, yeah, you know, and I had this thought, and I said it to her, and she wrote it down, one line, and she came back with the second line, just off the top of her head. Okay, that's good, write that down. And I came back with, we wrote the song like that probably in 5 minutes, you know, unknowing what we're doing, just writing stuff down. And the song that we're going to do is that song, but the odd thing about it, it's going to sound like a science fiction story, but it's really true. It's like the fog was so thick, and we finished that song, and all of a sudden, down the road was clear as a bell, you know, for miles, and the side was thick fog.
Is that right?
And, you know, it just felt like there's something weird going on here. But so yeah, it was an inspiring kind of thing to write it with that, you know.
Excellent. Well, I sure appreciate you coming on here.
Well, good to be here. Yeah, enjoyed Daniel and you playing along.
Very good.
We're gonna play along in a minute.
All right, let's hear that song.
Sometimes when I'm alone and my heart is troubled, and life seems too big to understand, a ray of sunshine Jesus sit down to guide me. When I let Jesus take my hand. Whenever I'm in need, my heart is troubled, and life seems to fill with demand. The song of peace is sent down from heaven. When I let Jesus take my hand. Oh, sweet serenity, when He touched me and made me whole. He walks and talks with me whenever I'm lonely. He tells me of a promised land. Then those still waters flow way down in my soul. When I let Jesus take my hand. When I let Jesus take my hand.
Spooner, how do you figure your cost of living?
Well, I take my income and then I add 30%.